In the sun-drenched hills of Elath, nestled between hills lined with olive trees and vineyards, lived a girl named Miriam. She was 10 years old, full of quiet wonder and gentle kindness. Her brown curls danced in the breeze as she walked barefoot on warm cobblestones, often humming songs she'd heard in synagogue or whispering to the birds in the trees. But Miriam's favorite place in the world was the windowsill of her tiny clay-walled home. On it sat a small handmade clay pot, passed down from her grandmother. It had tiny cracks along its rim and was glazed in soft earth tones. Miriam used it to grow flowers, tiny, wild things she collected from the hillside and replanted with care. She loved tending to things that grew. One afternoon, the village square burst with excitement. People were gathering, laughing, and whispering with energy. The word spread like wind through the wheat fields. Jesus of Nazareth is coming. The traveling rabbi, the one people said could heal the blind and speak like heaven itself, was passing through Elath on his way to Galilee. People rushed to prepare for him. Bakers fired up their ovens, fishermen brought in their best catches, weavers laid out their brightest fabrics. Even the children found ways to gather gifts: jars of olives, folded scrolls, baskets of figs. Miriam stood in the middle of it all, holding her clay pot close to her chest, heart racing. "I want to give him something too," she said to her mother as the stars blinked into the evening sky. Her mother gently stirred a pot over the fire and looked at her with soft eyes. "Then give him something that grows from the heart." That night, Miriam stayed awake while the house fell silent. She looked at her pot on the windowsill, then reached into her little leather pouch of seeds. She'd picked the roundest, smoothest one, something her grandmother once told her was a wild mustard seed. She pressed it deep into the soil, smoothed it over, and whispered a prayer. "Dear God, let this flower bloom for Jesus. Let it show him how much I love him. Please make it grow." Every day after that, Miriam rose with the sun. She placed the pot where the light touched it first. She fetched water from the well, always just the right amount, and hummed as she watered the soil. She waited. One day passed, then 3, then 7. Nothing. She moved it to a sunnier corner. Still nothing. A week turned to 2. Miriam knelt by the pot and pleaded, "Please, God, don't let it stay empty." Other children were beginning to prepare their gifts. Levi had braided palm leaves into a cross. Ruth had made a honey cake. Ezra caught a fish that shimmered silver in the bucket. But Miriam still had only soil. On the morning Jesus was to arrive, the village buzzed with preparation. Women ground wheat, and elders spread woven mats under the sycamore tree near the well where Jesus would speak. Miriam sat on her bed, staring at her pot. Her lower lip trembled. "It didn't work," she whispered. "I failed." She wanted to cry. She wanted to stay home. She almost left the pot behind. But then she remembered her mother's voice. "Give him something that grows from the heart." And so, with shaking hands and hope still flickering like a candle in the wind, she carried the empty pot to the square. The crowd was thick. People held out their gifts, beautiful, proud, prepared. Jesus walked slowly through the people, smiling with his eyes, touching the sick, blessing the children. Then he stopped, right in front of Miriam. She looked down, cheeks burning, her eyes wrapped around the clay pot as if trying to hide it. But Jesus knelt down and smiled. He looked at the pot, not with disappointment, but with wonder. "You brought me something very special," he said. Miriam's voice trembled. "But it's empty. I planted the seed. I did everything right. I prayed and waited. I just wanted to give you something beautiful." Jesus looked into her tear-filled eyes. "You did," he whispered. "You gave me your hope, your patience, your faith. Even when nothing seemed to happen, that's the most beautiful gift of all." He placed his hand gently on the rim of the pot, and then, right before her eyes, the soil began to stir. A single green shoot pushed its way up. Then, too, leaves unfurled, shimmering with dew. And then a bloom, bright, golden, and radiant, glowing as though kissed by heaven itself. The crowd gasped. Miriam blinked in awe. Jesus leaned close and whispered, "What grows in my time always blooms exactly when it should." Miriam carried the pot home with tears in her eyes and a smile that didn't fade for days. She placed it back on her windowsill, this time not just as a flower, but as a reminder that even empty pots held with faith can bloom with divine beauty. See, God doesn't always work on our timeline. Sometimes we water, we wait, and we see nothing. But He sees the heart behind the hope. Faith isn't proven in the outcome. It's revealed in the waiting. And when God moves, His bloom is always worth the wait. God bless you, my friends.